Welcome on into today's trade recap. It is Tuesday, November 28th. We're very close to the November trade recap video that we're going to be having probably by the end of the week. And we had a realized gain of $16.39. So essentially, really nothing occurred today. I just locked in tiny profits or very small partial profits on a position on ARK that I opened yesterday. And so we'll get into that here in a second. I also opened a position on silver, which we're going to talk about as well. So let's just pull up ARK and get into the goods. Here, nothing occurred yesterday. As you can see, if you were to go back, there was a zero. I had one trade, but I opened a position. I didn't sell it or exit it. So I just opened it. We can see that based off my initial risk, I'm looking to risk about 121 on this to make 208. So almost a 2-to-1 risk reward on the ARK. And that's based off of what I had initially put in as my take profit and stop loss. These numbers I can adjust. I may adjust, but that's basically what we're looking at. And TradeZella just recently fixed the issue that we were having with the charts. So now we can literally view every ticker symbol we have been trading no matter what. All it was today was I entered here yesterday and then I sold in small bunches here. If you go to the executions, I got in at 45.43, 100 shares, and I sold a total of 20 shares so far to lock in $16.39 or whatever the number is. That was it. So nothing crazy there. I'm going to add this as a bull flag setup, and I'm going to put this on the 1-day time frame because that's what we were looking at it from. And if I jump back to that daily chart, what you're going to notice is what I was noticing. So decent move up on ARK, and this is on TradeZella, which is pretty cool to use. So ARK has a big move up into the early November, then it pushes up here to 45, pulls back into 43.50, kind of takes a couple of days to consolidate. Eventually, kind of a double top high here at 45 on the 24th. That was on Friday. We broke that on Monday. I enter on the break, and I'm looking for about a 2-to-1 risk reward for the ultimate take profit. I guess I can look for more, but I'm scaling out accordingly, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. And that was the trade there on ARK. The next trade is on silver. This one is open, as we can see. It's still open, and I, execution-wise, got in with 0.08 lots, I believe, is what the amount ends up coming out to. But from a risk-reward standpoint, if you go to the stats, I am risking about 145 to make 201 based off of the current take profit and stop loss that I have. I pretty much just threw that target kind of randomly, to be honest with you, out there. The stop loss is based off of the actual charts that make the most sense. This is on a 1-hour time frame, so let me just adjust this and go to custom 1 hour, and this was a bull flag setup. So if you go to the 1-hour chart, what do I see? And I see a pretty nice move up on, well, I see like 2 flags setting up here, really. You know, on the hourly chart, you have silver with a big move, consolidation for quite a number of days, broke that consolidation on Friday, and then had this consolidation from what is this, the weekend, or I guess Monday, whatever, into this week. And now it broke that consolidation here, and that's when I got in on the break of that consolidation at around 24.89 on silver. So that's the look. This is going to potentially be adjusted, but again, the planned R multiple there was a 1.39. And then the realized R multiple. That's something that I think is good to track. Although I just will say it's not going to be as easy to track as it may seem to me if I move things and scale out accordingly. So we'll see how those go out. But I'm not super concerned about tracking specifically the R multiple. I'm more like, from my view, I'm more a big picture of like, yes, the R multiple matters. And I agree, but I'm just taking these two numbers into consideration, really. And the R multiple works itself out. And it's kind of a product of this. If my win rate is 40-ish%, but I'm making 1.3 on every trade, or I'm risking $1 to make 134 in this case, what the average win-loss is telling me, it's not terrible. If I can get this to 50%, we're great. So that's kind of based off my stats right now. This is going to be an evolving process. Last month, I believe our numbers were somewhere in the ballpark of 51%. Yeah, 51.5% with a 1.65 to 1 risk reward on the trades on the average, or I guess average risk loss, I should say, average win loss. So we'll see. I have open positions that I will tell you right now. So while we are slowly chipping away at this negative P&L We may finish the month negative for all I know. It just depends upon when these positions close out. So I don't know. I don't care. I'm not going to close these positions out in the green to be like, oh, just because the month ends, like, no, the charts are the charts. So it doesn't matter to me. We'll see. But I currently have, I don't want to say too many because they're on higher time frames, but I have more than enough. So I'm probably going to leave what I've got. We'll probably be scaling out of ARK. ARK is very close to our take profit here. Bitcoin's looking decent as well. Meta, we also have Adobe that's pretty good too. Adobe's very close to making the next take profit. So we're getting there in a lot of these. They're slowly scaling out, and I'm not really in a rush, especially if this Q4 rally-ish move continues. I mean, we're kind of riding that, and we're still got about a month to go until the end of the year. So if the charts still hold up, there's no reason to sell them. I've moved my stop losses up on a lot of these things, so our risk is very low from initial entry to where we are. So I can tell you that if I were to close all these out, we would be green, certainly green on the month, but I'm not really looking to close them out until I either hit my take profits or I get stopped out. So that's the deal. Definitely not as good of a month as last month so far on the stats. These numbers were not, win rate was not as good. Started off pretty crappy, and their average win-loss not as good. Not as much range on the moves that I've been trading. I kind of felt like we had some pretty aggressive moves, but I didn't really get a good chance to take advantage of some of those aggressive moves that we've seen in the market in general. And I ended up kind of chopping up in some consolidations. But, that's how it goes. It's not going to be perfect. Some months that the market's down, I might be doing really well for all we know. So let's double check in on Surge Trader and show you guys where the account's currently sitting at. Currently 25% of the way there based off of unrealized gains. So based off of realized gains, here's what we've locked in. But currently we have open P&L. I think we have got like over $500 in unrealized P&L, positive P&L that's open. So today we were currently up. We realized $16 today, but we were technically up 337 based off of all the positions that we have appreciating. And so this is a new high watermark, I believe. This should be, the high watermark was 51,072. It's going to be 51,280 now on the high watermark. So that's going to bring up our trailing drawdowns and whatnot, which again, not a big deal to me. Our max trailing drawdowns 8% away, but something to keep in mind if I were to blow up, I guess, in the grand scheme. So 25% away, not bad. The sizing, I was just looking back at my past year, and the sizing has slowly, almost painfully slowly increased to now. But I go back and not back and forth, but there's no reason to start doubling, tripling down. Like I just don't see the benefit, because if I do that and then I have what happened at the beginning of the month, it's just, I don't know, like, you can give back too much. Like in this case, I was down $700. Not that that's like an insane amount of money in the grand scheme for the challenge and for the prop firm. No, it's not in danger of hitting any of the drawdowns. No, but $700, like, in a matter of like, what is this? A week? There's no reason why. And again, we got unrealized gains of like 550 right now. So there's no reason to rush in my view. These numbers are fine. We'll get there when we get there. I'm not in a rush, and market's always going to be here. It's not going anywhere. Right now we're playing upside opportunities, and maybe we'll be looking at downside opportunities, at some point in the future. The dollar is weak. The 10-year is also pretty weak. ARK was quite strong. You got some relative strength on ARK compared to the overall market today. ARK was up 2.75%. Absolutely crushing it right now. Looks like it's headed towards, dare we say, the 50 mark. This is the breakout that I was looking at on ARK, and then I'll pull up my silver chart. Silver on the 1 hour chart was the time frame I was looking at this on, and these are the kind of the two new positions. So you can kind of see this consolidation flag, if you will, and then a break of these highs around 24.87 was my entry, and it looks good. I'm thinking that, what I'm looking for, like roughly speaking, is like a 1.5 to 2 to 1. If you look and you zoom out of some of these moves, can we anticipate this entire range? I don't think so. What I always look for is like the consolidation. So whatever the size of the consolidation was, that's our first PT. where we can start locking some gains in. And that's what we should be looking at, is for at least the size of the second leg of this move, for this to work out like, I guess, textbook or perfect in a perfect world. I guess my version of textbook, everyone's going to have their own version. That's the whole thing, which I think is also cool. That's what we'll talk more about in maybe future videos and stuff. Is kind of what my, just being in it and going through it. Like, what are we seeing? A lot of the stuff you see on social media and trading YouTube and stuff is a lot of BS. Maybe it's not BS, but it's not like what matters. It's what gets the clicks and the views and makes money for people who make the videos. But what actually matters is like in the craft, in the game, is probably more important. So I think like that's what we're going to be talking more about in the standalone videos. That's at least what I want to do. But either way, if you look at this move, this from low to high of consolidation was about 34 cents on silver. So you're looking for like probably up here towards 25.30 on silver. If we tag that level, then it's 44. And then we're looking at like, okay, we shouldn't lose. We should be locking in some decent gains on it. So we'll see. But overall, silver's daily chart, this also looks pretty feisty as well. We're tagging some of these highs, and you potentially could be looking at highs of the year here, not too far away, about $1 away on silver to tagging the highs of the year. So pretty strong move. And I think with the dollar moving down the way it's moving down, if it bounces back, different story. But the dollar just rolled over to a new low of the past couple of months. The dollar looks to be headed back towards the bottom of this recent range. If the dollar does end up, under 102 on DXY, it's probably a good thing. And it's probably going to help a lot. And, when we saw the dollar down at some of these levels, silver was looking pretty good and showing some good strength. So that's the update for today. So not a lot in terms of movement realized gains, but you can see that on our Surge Trader dashboard. We are currently up we're 25% of the way to the target, which is a new high. This is the new high watermark on the account. So that's cool, but can we keep it is the question. So far, so good. About a month and a half in. So far, so good. Nice and slow. No rush. Slow and steady wins the race. And that's the update. Thanks so much. I'll leave links and resources down below like always. Make sure to subscribe if you want more of these videos. I'll post these whenever I trade. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.